7 brave souls have arrived on the mysterious planet Krone J5, where neon jungles and strange creatures conceal the secrets of signals from planet 666X. Discoveries, dangers, and encounters that could change everything await them. Hello, friends! Before we continue, please like and subscribe. The next videos will feature even more intriguing details about this journey, and don't forget to leave your impressions at the end. So, here we go. In the first part of our story, 7 brave travelers set out on a rescue mission to the mysterious planet 666X. Their stopover was the planet Krone J5, with its neon jungles, vibrant forests, and amazing creatures. The team encountered natural mysteries, unusual inhabitants, and strange signals that pointed to something more. After initial explorations, they decided to delve deeper into the planet and search for traces of civilization, paving the way for new discoveries and dangerous adventures. What is hidden in the gloomy settlement on planet Krone J5? Follow our team, the answer may be closer than you think. Come with us to the border between the known and the unknown, secrets, dangers, and encounters that will change everything. Secrets and Intrigues of Planet 666, Part 2: The Path to the Mysterious Settlement. Chapter 1. Morning Meeting. In the morning, after waking up and packing up camp, the crew held a brief meeting to discuss their next steps. "We can't stay here long," Artemis began, adjusting his glasses, "and we also shouldn't stray far from our liner, the Elysium. The Heliot 131 signal could be nearby, and we must be prepared for anything." "I suggest we go that way," Lysandra said, pointing to the forest where the sound of water could be heard. "There could be a spring or signs of civilization there. But navigating through this dense vegetation and difficult terrain is difficult," Graven noted. "We'll have to spend a lot of time and energy. If we want to find something important, we'll have to take risks," she added. "Mira. Water is a sure landmark. I can take the drones and survey the route," Kai suggested, grinning slightly. Artemis nodded. "Okay, let's go as a team to the waterfall. There we'll assess the situation and decide who will go to scout the settlement. For now, we'll move together, and be careful." After gathering their things, the team set off, traversing dense jungle, hanging vines, and winding paths filled with glowing plants. Chapter 2. The Edge of the Plateau and the Waterfall. A few hours later, through the fog and bright, shimmering trees, the team emerged onto the edge of a vast plateau. To the right, the long-awaited waterfall thundered, the water falling from a great height, forming a rainbow of tiny droplets. The plateau stretched for many kilometers, and roughly in the middle, a majestic city was visible. Its center was futuristic and fantastical, and on the outskirts were located dark, fairy tale-like buildings, with narrow, covered roofs and strange turrets, surrounded by dark, glowing trees. "This place looks both enticing and frightening," Alara whispered, peering at the settlement. "It seems to hold its own secrets." "Agreed," Artemis nodded. "Now we need to make a decision: who will go scout the settlement, and who will stay here." After a short meeting, the team decided Kai, Mira, and Surzan would head to the settlement. The rest, Artemis, Lysandra, Graven, and Alara, would set up camp by the waterfall and explore the area, providing support and security. "The journey will take at least 30 hours, Graven noted, studying the map of the plateau. "Then reconnaissance will require the utmost caution." "We will wait for you here," Lysandra added. "Signals, patterns, and terrain data will help you navigate." The team set up camp near the waterfall. Surzan and Kai checked equipment, Lysandra reinforced life support systems, Graven examined the soil and vegetation, and Alara recorded unusual biological samples. The scouts prepared to depart, aware that a gloomy settlement with its own secrets and dangers awaited them. The rest of the team, remaining at the waterfall, would closely monitor every signal, preparing for any surprises. Chapter 3. The Path to the Darkly Fairy Tale Settlement. Kai, Mira, and Surzan set out early in the morning, while the first mist still swirled over the waterfall. The surrounding forest was dense and unusually vibrant, the trees shimmered with a soft neon light, and at every step they encountered strange plants that quietly vibrated when touched, as if warning of their presence. "It seems the forest is watching us," Mira muttered, carefully stepping around a bush whose leaves shimmered in every shade of purple. "Not just watching," Kai chuckled, raising the drone for reconnaissance. "Sometimes it feels like it's guiding us." Surzan, holding the spectrometer, noticed unusual frequency vibrations emanating from the soil and plants, intertwined with the rhythm of their steps. "This planet is like a living organism. And we will have to learn to listen to her language." The hours passed slowly. The path through the dense forest turned out to be much more difficult than they expected. And suddenly they came to a small clearing, where they noticed two humanoid creatures standing among the dark trees. They were short, with thin bodies, dressed in strange clothes reminiscent of animal skins. In their hands they held nets and weapons that resembled a hybrid of a bow and a spear, as if adapted for hunting large animals. Surzan stepped forward, but Mira quietly stopped him with her hand. "They noticed us," she whispered. The creatures froze, their eyes, bright and alive, studying the three explorers. For a moment, the forest fell silent. And then one of them made a movement as if about to speak, but then both disappeared, melting into the dense thicket, leaving behind only the quiet rustling of leaves. "We clearly disturbed them," said Kai. "Either they don't want to communicate, or they're watching." "We're here," Mira added, scanning the area around her with the drone. "Let's be careful, the forest gets even denser further on." As they continued walking, they came across strange markings on the trees, carved symbols, resembling writing, but not belonging to any known civilization. They shimmered with a faint light that changed hue depending on the viewing angle. "It looks like a warning," Surzan remarked, taking readings on the device. "Or an invitation. We don't know yet." Every step was filled with tension and anticipation. Moments of silence alternated with sudden flashes of light and a faint sound that resembled the quiet whisper of the forest. The journey took hours, and the forest gradually gave way to the dark silhouettes of the settlement's buildings, barely visible through the foliage, low roofs, strange turrets, glowing windows, and wisps of smoke rising into the air like the breath of the earth itself. "Here we are," Kai said, looking at the outlines. "Settlements. But we need to be prepared for anything, these people are clearly not ordinary." Mira and Surzan nodded, carefully observing every movement, every shadow, as they moved forward, completely immersed in the atmosphere of mystery, where every sound and every glimmer of light could tell something about life in this strange, darkly fairy tale world. Chapter 4. Night in the Forest. As dusk approached, the forest became denser and more mysterious. The huge treetops blocked the light, and the soft neon glow of the foliage barely illuminated the path. Kai, Mira, and Surzan found a small clearing with level ground and decided to set up camp there. Having assembled a primitive shelter from scrap materials, they lit a small fire, which softly illuminated their surroundings. After dinner, the explorers sat around the fire, discussing the day's events and the upcoming trek to the darkly fairy tale settlement. "It seems as if the forest itself is watching us," Mira muttered, listening to the quiet rustling of leaves. "Yes, sometimes I feel like someone or something is watching our every move," Surzan added, checking the sensors on his helmet. The night was long and unsettling. Several times they were awakened by eerie sounds, reminiscent of the cries of an unknown animal, long, hoarse, and incomprehensible. Sometimes it seemed as if a shadow between the trees was moving, and that someone was always secretly watching them. After one particularly sharp sound, Mira quietly said, "It's better for us to sleep in turns. That way, we can monitor the camp and not be caught off guard." Kai nodded. "I agree, one should be on duty, two sleep, then take turns." So they arranged a night shift. Every hour, someone stood by the fire and carefully watched the forest, while the rest tried to get at least a little rest. Strange noises could be heard from time to time through the silence of the night, rustling leaves, falling branches, rustles like footsteps. But none of the creatures approached the campsite, either they were too cautious, or simply watching from afar. When the first rays of dawn broke through the dense canopy, Kai, Mira, and Surzan felt a sense of relief. They carefully checked the campsite, making sure everything was in place, and prepared to continue their journey. "We'll reach the settlement today," Surzan said, pulling on his backpack. "And it seems something unusual awaits us there." "Let's be careful," Mira added, clutching her tablet to her chest. "The forest has already shown that it can be dangerous and unpredictable." The trio set out, filled with a mixture of anxiety and curiosity, feeling that every step brought them closer to unraveling the mystery of this dark, fairy tale world. Chapter 5. The destination is near. First impressions. In the morning, after packing up camp and checking their equipment, Kai, Mira, and Surzan set out. The forest gradually thinned, giving way to rolling hills with tall grasses and sparse trees. The road was winding, slippery in places with dew, but every step brought them closer to their goal. When they reached the top of one of the hills, a stunning sight opened up before them. Below, a settlement lay, as if cut out of a fairy tale. A river flowed among the small houses, reflecting the heavenly light, and brightly colored gardens shone all around, creating a sense of harmony and magic. "Look, it's incredible," Mira whispered, unable to look away. "It feels like we've entered another world." Surzan studied the surroundings through a rangefinder. Low buildings, but well protected. "Judging by the look of it, someone lives here, and perhaps we've already been spotted." Kai, clutching the data recording devices, added cautiously, "Let's move slowly. We need to understand who lives here and how they react to outsiders." In the center of the settlement stood an unusual temple, located in a spacious square. Its architecture combined elements of mystical antiquity and futuristic harmony: rounded towers, smooth lines covered in symbols, and stained glass windows through which soft light shone. "It seems the temple is the center of life in this settlement," Mira noted, studying the scanner. "Perhaps they conduct some kind of rituals or meetings here." The trio descended the hill, carefully moving among the gardens and paths, trying to remain unnoticed. After a while, they spotted the first inhabitants. They looked human, but short, wearing clothing reminiscent of animal skins and carrying unusual weapons and nets, which were apparently used for hunting large animals. When the inhabitants noticed new arrivals, their faces expressing fear and wariness, they froze for a moment, and then, with a quick glance, disappeared into the thicket of the forest, as if melting into the surrounding environment. "They're clearly scared," Kai said, dropping to one knee to remain in the shadows. "Perhaps they rarely encounter strangers. Or they're just cautious," Surzan added. "We need to be very careful. Any sudden movement could scare them off completely." Mira, scanning the surroundings, noticed movement between the houses. Shadows flickered quickly, almost imperceptibly. "They're watching, and it seems they're waiting for our reaction." The trio stopped at the edge of the garden, assessing the situation. A mystical world opened up before them, where every detail, every color, every shadow could carry a signal or a warning. They had to understand the rules of this world before taking the next step, and more on all of this in the next video. We look forward to your thoughts on the video and your feedback. If you heard something, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more, and thank you for your attention.